There are sellers in Rhode Island right now leaving $30, $40, sometimes even $50,000 on the table. And most of them have absolutely no idea they did it. Same house, same neighborhood, same school district, sometimes even the same street. One sells the first weekend with multiple offers, the other sits. Price reduction, another price reduction, then eventually sells for less than it should. And here's the crazy part. Most of the time, it has nothing to do with the house. It has everything to do with how that house was launched. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. Because the old strategy of putting your house on the MLS, putting up a sign, and praying, that doesn't work anymore. I'm Nick Slocum with the Slocum Home Team at eXp Realty, and our family's been selling real estate here in Rhode Island for over 75 years, 3 generations, which means somewhere along the line, family dinners stopped being about football and became conversations about things like septic systems and property lines. I've personally been doing this for 19 years and been involved in over 1,000 sales. And if there's one thing I can tell you about selling in today's market, it's this. The goal is not to get your house on the market. The goal is to control how the market reacts when you do. It's a completely different mindset. And honestly, most agents are still playing the old game. Now, I already know what some of you are thinking. Nick, homes are slower because of rates. Buyers are cautious. The market changed. You're right. That's true. But that's exactly why this conversation matters more now than it did 2 years ago. Because in a market where buyers are hesitant, launch strategy matters even more. When buyers were throwing offers at everything, you could get away with bad marketing, bad timing, bad positioning, and honestly, just bad everything. You could practically take listing photos on an iPhone in the rain and still get 16 offers. That market, gone. Today, buyers are more selective, more cautious, more patient. And when buyers feel like they have leverage, trust me, they use it. Here's what most agents still do. And if we're being honest, this is how real estate has worked for decades. You take the listing, schedule photos maybe, put a sign in the yard, upload it to MLS, push it to Zillow, maybe throw a Facebook post where your aunt comments, beautiful, and then they wait, they hope, they pray, maybe they light a candle, maybe they bury a statue of St. Joseph in the yard, see what happens. That strategy used to work, but here's the problem. Speed without strategy removes leverage. Because the second buyers can access your house, control shifts. Now buyers can compare, they can wait, negotiate, take their time. And if your house launches with no momentum, buyers smell it immediately. They start thinking, maybe this one sits. Maybe we can come in low. Let's just favorite it and circle back in 3 weeks. And the moment buyers think they have leverage, your negotiating position changes. That's the part that nobody talks about. And here's the shift. The most important days of selling your home are not the days after it hits the market, they're the days before it hits the market. That's when perception gets formed, and that's when curiosity gets built. That's when demand starts stacking. At Slocum Home Team, we call this demand before access. And honestly, every successful industry in the world already understands this. Real estate just is a little bit late to the party. Think about the movies. A movie gets finished. Do they release it the next day? Of course not. First comes the teaser, then the trailer, then interviews, then behind the scenes clips, then social media buzz, then opening weekend. Why? Because by the time the movie actually opens, people already want tickets. People are talking about it. People are emotionally invested. Nobody sees a Marvel trailer and says, you know what? I'll wait 6 months and see if ticket prices come down. Momentum matters. Now imagine if a movie studio quietly uploaded a blockbuster online with zero marketing and they just hoped people found it. That would sound ridiculous. But that's exactly how most homes get listed. Quietly, no buildup, no anticipation, no strategy. Then everybody acts surprised when the open house is slow. We don't launch homes like garage sales. We launch them like events because perception matters. Here's another example. You're walking through East Greenwich on a beautiful Friday night. You pass one restaurant, empty parking lot, no line, nobody inside. Unless your cousin owns the place, you probably keep walking. You assume something's wrong. Now you pass another restaurant. It's packed. There's a line out the door. People are waiting. Suddenly you're curious. Now you want to know what's going on in there. Maybe you even put your name on the list. Homes work the exact same way. When buyers feel like they're the only one interested, they negotiate. When buyers feel like other buyers are paying attention, their behavior changes. And this is important. Nobody negotiates aggressively on something they had to compete for. Nobody waits an hour for dinner and then says, you know what, before appetizers, I'd like 20% off. That's not how people behave. Pressure changes psychology. Another analogy, think about a dealership. A new car model comes in. They don't quietly park it in the back and hope somebody stumbles across it. No, they spotlight it, advertise it, they email people, they promote it, they build anticipation. But here's the psychology nobody talks about. When you go to see that car, you're not alone. You see other people checking it out. Maybe they're sitting in it, talking about it. Maybe they took it for a test drive. And suddenly that negotiation changes. You stop trying to steal the deal, you start trying to win. Because nobody walks into a dealership and says, quick question, has absolutely nobody looked at this car? Perfect, I'll pay full price. That shift, that's leverage. Homes should be launched the exact same way. So what do we do differently? We built what we call the Slocum Launch Strategy, and the entire thing revolves around one idea. We want to create pressure before access. Once photos are done, we don't just throw the home up online immediately. We start positioning, messaging, targeting, running paid ads, marketing to our huge database, reaching out to agents with buyers in that price range, social media promotion, neighborhood visibility, coming soon campaigns. Why? Because awareness without access creates momentum, and momentum changes negotiations. By the time the launch day comes, buyers already know about the house. Agents already know about it. Neighbors are talking. People are watching. And let's be honest, neighbors love real estate gossip. You know it's true. Now the house enters the market with energy, not silence. So let me give you one more. Imagine you're interviewing for a job and you find out you're the only candidate. How do you negotiate? Probably pretty aggressively, right? Suddenly you've got some requests that you want to pass their way. It's things like, I'll need Fridays remote. Now imagine walking into that same interview and seeing 5 highly qualified people waiting outside. Same salary, same job, completely different psychology. Suddenly you don't want to lose. Homes work exactly the same way. Buyers stop negotiating against the seller and they start negotiating against each other. Auctions work for one reason. Nobody wants to lose publicly. People don't bid because they love spending money. Nobody wakes up on a Saturday morning thinking, you know what sounds fun? I'd love to overpay in front of a bunch of strangers today. They bid because they don't want somebody else winning. The same psychology applies in real estate. When buyers know others are interested, they stop trying to win cheaply and they start trying to win. That's why strong offers are created, not discovered. Now I know what some sellers are thinking, Nick, I just want to move fast, I don't want to wait. I completely understand that. Nobody wakes up excited to add 4 extra days to the moving process. But here's the thing. The days before launch are the only days where we still control leverage. Once buyers have unlimited access, control shifts. Skipping strategy to move faster usually costs sellers money. It feels faster, but it often creates a smaller check. And listen, if 4 extra days protect tens of thousands of dollars in equity, it's usually a pretty good trade. So before you hire the first agent who says, yeah, we can get your house live by Thursday, ask one question. What's your launch strategy? And if the answer is things like photos, MLS, Zillow, put a sign in the yard, we'll hope for the best, you already know how that story ends. So if you're thinking about selling in Rhode Island, you want to see what this strategy would look like for your specific house, your street, your price point, reach out. No pressure, no hard pitch, just the exact plan we'd run to maximize your leverage and protect your equity. Because at the end of the day, our job isn't to put your home on the market. Our job is to control how the market reacts to it. I'll see you on the next one.